Hello and welcome to another episode of Baggers Chat. We'll be looking at the mighty round one game, Carlton versus Richmond. How are we feeling, boys, going into it? Still a few days away. Feeling all right?
Pumped. Absolutely
excited, mate.
The Tigs.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, just the AFLW as well. Finished off a couple of days ago. We couldn't quite get the victory against the D's, which is unfortunate. We almost had a goal almost after the sign there to win it. Not quite, but we missed it anyway. But anyway, at the G, Thursday night, the usual time slot. How many people do you reckon we're going to get there, boys? 90,000 plus, do you reckon? How many pack the stadium out, Daff?
Yeah, I think so. I think 85. I think 85. Footy's back to normal finally. No capacity limits like last year where everyone was trying to, tickets were like gold really. But yeah, hopefully 85 plus.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just hopefully no one's. Yeah, I reckon there'll be a few people still that probably a bit hesitant maybe because it's a pretty big event. But Pato, speech, what do you reckon, boys?
100,000.
100,000, you reckon?
100,000. How many people is there? Like, what's the exact number? 100,000, like 18 or something? I think it's like something like that.
Yeah,
there will be 100,000 people at the G.
This is the most the Carlton Collingwood grand final, but they used to be able to stand like one.
Yeah,
they used to have the big wooden planks, so they didn't have individual seats.
Yeah, exactly. Speech, how many people, mate? Guess the exact number.
79,821.
Oh, there should be like a prize. There should be like a prize for this. Like, get the exact number, you get free $49.99 footy.
What was your exact guess, Pato? Go, 100,000?
Every single seat will be packed out. Bang.
Nice. Daffy, what's your exact guess, mate?
So 85,272.
Oh.
All right. Let's get into the good stuff now, boys. Let's duck into the preview, a few big talking points. Who will be lining up in the centre square for the opening bounce come 7:20? Whatever time it is, 7:50 maybe?
Yep,
7:25.
Who's going to be lining up in the bound? We've got Cripps, Chera, Hewitt, Kennedy. Who do you see being in and around there, Daff?
Yeah, it's exciting. Every year we always say we're more excited than last year, but geez, you look at our midfield last week against the D's in the pre-season match and it just gets you a little bit more excited. I think the starting three will be Cripps, Chera, Hewitt. And then obviously you've got Kennedy rotating in there, and then I reckon Pitto will be starting in the ruck.
Beautiful. I thought it was more to that. I thought you were going to keep going. But stop. I like it. Speech?
I agree 100%. I think, Pitto in the ruck, surrounded by Cripps, Jaron Hewitt, and Kennedy rotating off the bench or the wing to start off with.
Beautiful. You agree, Pato?
Yeah, Pitto in the ruck. I did have a little bit of not too sure if I was going to play the two rucks in my best 22, 23, but Cripps, Jaron Hewitt, definitely midfield, bang, smack bang, in the middle, be whoever Richmond produce.
I did think he said Pato in the ruck there, but then he said Pitto, so it was all right.
No, that is what I said. Pato in the ruck. The underdog.
The
underdog.
All right, we'll just touch on that actually. What are your boys' thoughts on, do we play two ruckmen, TDK and sort of Pitt, I guess, or do you play just TDK, just Pitt and rotate Silvani or whoever it is? Daff, how do you see it unfolding? Round one and then sort of as we get into the future rounds as well, mate?
Yeah, I personally think we have to kind of play two rucks. I think Pitto struggles to rotate through the forward line. I think he'd probably go to the bench if he is rotated. But yeah, I think TDK is probably not ready for that sole ruckman role. I think Pitto, moves his body around well. He's a very physical type of ruckman, old style type of ruckman. So yeah, I think he'll be good against a ruckman like Nankervis. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you consider just having TDK and then sort of Silvani or something like that coming through and then going and playing elsewhere, or you'd prefer the two ruckmen, especially for now anyway?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think having Silvani in there, I just want him to stay fit. I think he's had a few years early, has niggling injuries, and I think sometimes chucking him in the ruck against the big boy, you just don't want him getting injuries early in the year, especially the pressure our team's on with, the new coach and players and that and expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was good to sort of have him as an option when it was needed last season, and have him there if required. But it's probably not something you want him to do week in, week out. Mitch?
Yeah, I think we play the two, TDK and Pito. Pito is the main, and TDK sort of that forward that moves up as well. I think kind of found out a little bit when Silvani had to ruck just with that lack of height. He's solid there if that's all we got because he can hold his own. But yeah, it shouldn't be our main option as a backup to have Silvani in the ruck there. So I think, TDK and Pito is the main two probably for most of the season unless something changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Pato?
Yeah, I see it in a little bit of a different way because I think round one would definitely be TDK and Pitt starting. As we said, TDK, not too sure if he's going to be 100% fit and especially to play out a full ruckman game. So that's the thing. I think moving forward, TDK is definitely the future. But I see TDK, in our best 22 with everyone fit, I see TDK being the main ruck and Silvani being the second ruck because I really like the look of Silvani going up in the second ruck towards the end of the year, of last year. So I know it's a tough one, but also it's a good problem to have because it just shows that everyone's kind of up to it and everyone's kind of fighting for their spot, really. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. And you wouldn't call Silvani, I guess, a ruckman or anything like that, but I guess it's good to have that option where he could, especially for someone of that height. He's not short, he's not overly tall. He's not a ruckman, your typical ruckman, I guess. So to have him actually, be able to pinch it in there is, as you said, a good problem to have. Brody Kemp, do you see him playing round one, Daff? And if so, where do you see him sort of lining up?
It's an interesting one. I don't think he gets a game in our defence in the first few rounds. I think we've pretty much got those set back six currently, unless Doherty comes in after a pretty good performance last week in the twos. He's been playing a lot in the forward line in pracky matches, but sometimes that's been because either a Kerno or Mackay's out. So I don't think he'll play round one. He might be a perfect medical sub, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't really read too much. Although there's good positive to take away from the pracky match. Plowman sort of, he played in the forward line too. I don't expect him to line up in the forward line against the Tigers on Thursday night, but stranger things have happened probably. Speech, do you see Kemp playing that?
I don't personally. I think he's one of those guys that, he's very versatile. He can play all three positions on the ground. But as much as that's a good thing, it can also be a bad thing at times because he can't lock down that one spot in the team because he's not, haven't been able to master that one position. So I think, as Daff says, probably that good player to have as a midi sub because he can replace anyone, whether it be midfielder, or forward, or a defender. But yeah, I don't see him in the 22. I don't have him in my best 22, but yeah, definitely a role for him to play if need be, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Pato?
Spot on. I see Kemp definitely being the medical sub just because I like having the medical sub to be like a versatility, kind of having the guy that can kind of be chucked forward, like the OMAC of round one last year, kind of having the versatility because if a backman did go down, you can put OMAC back. But also with Kemp, it's good that he's played forward through the preseason just because we all know him as a key or medium-sized defender. But it's good to see, even in the midfield, he was kind of hyped up when we drafted him to be a midfielder. It's good that we have a versatility player that we can really put through the team, but also as a medical sub. I think that's the best case scenario. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's good to have someone like him, I guess, your utility type sort of medical sub, I guess, which would be good. What about, we do have a few, I guess, sort of smaller forwards as well. We're like always Durden, sort of Honey, I guess. And then I think, I could be wrong. Daff, did you see Motlop playing round one a few months ago? Did you say that or did you not say that?
Yeah, I was, his name was floating around, but it just seems to be he wasn't really picked for he wasn't picked for the ones in the last two pracky matches. Durden and Owies were ahead of him, so yeah, I think it'll be them too. But
do you see both of them playing? And then I think Honey's injured for a little bit, isn't he? So he comes straight back in with them. Is he going to be fighting for a spot depending on how they play in the next few weeks, I guess? Or how do you say that unfolding that?
I really like Honey, but I think he still needs to fight for his spot through the twos. We can't be given easy games to players anymore. We've had enough of that shit, really. But yeah, I think Durden and Owies are really good pressure forwards. We haven't really had real pressure forwards in the past few seasons. You can see Richmond, Melbourne, they have, the Cozzy Pickets. They might be annoying blokes, but they get the job done. They lay their tackles, cause havoc up forward, and yeah, they kick their goals as well. So yeah, I think they're in.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, I guess it's kind of it's sort of hard to say now as well. If we get to 3, 4, I don't know how long Honey's out for, but a few rounds in or whatever, and it's going to depend on how well, Durden or Owie are playing as well. And I do agree that I don't think he should come back straight back in a way. He should be going to the twos either way. Speech, how do you feel, mate?
Yeah, I think they're all three. I mean, they don't play at the same time, but they all deserve to be in the 22. So I think there definitely needs to be a fight for those spots. I think if you're not playing, as Steph said, then you next man in. You can't. If you have a couple of bad games in a row, then there should be pressure on you to really perform and keep your spot in the team between those three.
Yeah, absolutely. Pato?
Yeah, it's going to be tough just because I don't see Owies, Durden and Honey all playing alongside Martin, Curnow, Mackay, Silvani as well. So it's a hard one. But as you said, I think it's good that we have 3 or 4 players. Even Jesse Motlop, like me personally, I had him in for my best 22 round 1, lock him in about maybe a month ago. And all of a sudden, Owies and Durden have starred. And he's probably now the 4th option behind Honey. So it's a good option. It's a really good problem to have, but I think Honey probably does have to go through the twos to get a game again.
It probably was a pretty brave call, to be fair, even a few months ago to say Motlop round 1. Like, I just couldn't see it. The few sort of similar position players we have that have been with us for a few years, you would think now it's in hindsight it's easy to say, but it just seems like they should definitely get in the game. It seemed pretty unlikely for him to play round 1.
Yeah. I just think in total it was just because like the Durden and Owies didn't really impress, and then we kind of saw like in the preseason training, it was like, well, this guy Motlop has the X factor, and like with Honey injured, who was going to be that player? But I think Durden, even Owies, like it's 2 guys that probably had that X factor sort of look. So it's good to see, really good to see.
I think with that too, I think we got to develop our players more. You see bad cases with, SPS, who isn't with us anymore, but they get straight into the ones without even really earning their spot. Paddy Dow, you see the effect that's had on him. You look at Harry Mackay, he developed through the twos. We were yelling, we're crying out for him to play, but the patience was right, and he's developed right. And
are you saying that in the case of Motlop, or is it Durden, or Motlop?
Yeah, Motlop. Yeah, I think we just develop him through the twos. And if he's playing out of his skin, you got to play him. So he's got to force his way in. But right now, you got to develop him.
Yeah, 100%. All right, and now let's go to the wing. It's a position we've tried a few different players in. Who do you see lining up sort of on the wings? Is it going to interchange? How's it going to work? We'll go to you, Pato.
I think, especially through the Pracky game, I think it's pretty much the 2 options are O'Brien and Setterfield. But as the name's there, like Zach Fisher might even go up into that wing position. I wouldn't mind it, especially on the ball. Like if I see Zach Fisher on the ball, say like centre bounce, I would love to see that. Ed Curnow, probably not. I think there's other players in front of him. Paddy Dow, probably not. Noons as well. It's a tough one, but I just think O'Brien and Setterfield are the 2 main ones for round 1.
100%. Just on that as well, Curnow, is he playing round 1?
I don't think.
No. Obviously.
No.
Speech? That was really the only one that didn't give me a non-verbal signal, so speech.
I had to think about it for a second. No, I don't think he does. I don't think he does, no.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that it's probably his last season, you'd imagine. So I think he'll play a few games. We'll probably try and play every game to get into whatever the next milestone is. No one else, but no. I think he'll struggle to play a few games. It'd be a good player to have there for the year, but yeah, I don't think that much long left in him. Who was left? Speech. What was the question again? Oh yeah, the wing.
I agree with Pato. O'Brien and Setterfield. I think Shearer will probably rotate a lot on the wing as well when he's not on the ball. And then Fisher will probably push up from half forward as well, as Pato said, to play that wing role when Setters or O'Brien or whoever's having a rest.
Completely agree. And Gas about to jump out of his seat just waiting to say something. So what do you got for us, mate?
Oh yeah, I think it'll be O'Brien and Setterfield. Vossi's made that pretty clear, but I think I like a Fisher. I like a left footer on a wing. He's a good runner. He's good around the ball. He's zippy. He's quick. But yeah, Setterfield he's scary. He's scary. He's one of those players. I think the way we're playing will suit him. He's good with those handball chains. It's scary. It's scary. But hopefully he turns out good.
Absolutely, mate. Well said. All right, well, let's look on the other side of the camp now. Richmond, who are you most sort of, I guess, threatened by or worried about? Obviously, they've got some big boys there in Lynch, Rewalt, and who else got Noel Bolter. Who steps up for us? Who covers them? Sort of who are you most concerned about, especially?
I'm not concerned about the tools at all, to be honest with you. I think we match up pretty well there with Wiedering, Omac, and Gov. I think they'll be fine. It's the smalls I'm scared about, though. It's your Boltons and your Bakers and those sort of guys. I'm scared it'll tear us apart. So that's where my concern is. It's not with the tools. I think we normally do a good job against their tools, but the smalls can scare me a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. Lucky your boy Plowman's there to keep him goalless. I know it's hard not to go to Pato next, I would have thought. Pato, what do you reckon, mate?
After that reaction, no, like I did forget Shy Bolton, like he's a threat. But I think you can't really not look at Bolter, Rewalt, and Lynch. I think they are definitely three big threats down there. But I think it's a tough one because we do have the Wiederings, Omacs, McGovern, Lewis Young, but who do we play? I think the two locks are definitely Wiedering and Omac. But it's a tough one to see who will actually take that last, because that last player will probably go on a Jack Rewalt because he's probably the smallest one out of all of them. So it's tough one to it's tough to really, because I don't really want like a Nick Newman or a Lockie Plowman to go on one of these tours because I don't know, I just don't really like the look of it. But no, it's a tough one. But we'll have to see what happens on Thursday night.
Absolutely, yeah. It's hard not to agree. I mean, with that, like the smalls are usually the ones that threaten us, at least the old Carlton anyway. So I'd say I'm probably the most concerned about them as well. But Daff, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's going to be a new look back line with McGovern, Omac, and Wiedering working together rather than a two-man with Jones and Wiedering last year, which worked pretty well. But as a team, collectively, our defense is pretty horrid. For them, not too worried about a Bolter. It's just more will a Rewalt or Lynch break open the game? They're those types of players, like could be quiet for a half and then kill us at the back end of a third quarter or something like that. But I think it'll be all right. I'm not too stressed.
Super lucky.
No. There's not super lucky. They're good forwards, but I think we should be confident we can.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We've got to go in confident. All right. Well, a certain bloke that's had, it sort of, usually plays pretty well against us. He has had a pretty rough, I guess, last sort of 8 to 12 months or whatever. Dusty Martin, how do you see us trying to lessen his impact? What sort of role do you think he's going to play this game and also this year, I guess? I think he's a bit slimmer now. So, what, potentially? So what sort of role do you see him playing and how are we going to, I guess, try and stop as much damage as we can? Pato?
I just think he plays where he probably won the Brownlow, which is the mid-forward role. And that's why I kind of just put there, I think that's a really big priority. Like, Michael Voss needs to be pointing out this guy. This guy can break even last year, I think it was about halfway through the third quarter, and Dustin Martin was free in the forward line. And I'm like, get on this man. Like, he's like, everyone knows, to me, he's the best finals player to ever play the game. And how is no one on this guy in the forward line? Like, Lockie Plan was about 20, I don't even know if he was playing or not, but he was like 20 meters in front of me. I'm like, get on this guy. I don't get it. But that's why I kind of think maybe Ed Kerno comes in and says, all right, this is your man. Do not keep an arm on him the whole game. Don't let him out of your sight. Even Lockie Plowman, if he kind of goes forward and if he comes into the midfield, it's a tough one. But I know, I'm nervous, boys. I'm nervous for it. But also, we are good enough. We are good enough to stop this guy.
Just on that, because do you reckon Plowman can sort of, in that example, obviously he couldn't, but do you reckon he can go with him for, his whole game or most part of the game? I just don't think he's going to, Plowman, especially loves him, but I don't think he's sort of, obviously nowhere near the calibre of a Dusty Martin. So is Plowman should even be in the same conversation? I don't know. Obviously Ed Kerno you've all ruled out, so he can't really play that tagging role. How do you see it unfolding, Ethan?
George Hewitt, I think a player like him, and force Dusty to run both ways, because Hewitt's quite good at that, defensive running and offensive running. Dusty kind of lays off his man quite a bit, tries to get the cheap touches here and there. Great player. But, no, you know what I mean? Like, he's not a defensive type of midfielder, is he? Like,
Yeah, no, of course not.
I think we've just got to force him to defend, stretch the field. But yeah, it's just moments. Like when he goes up forward, it's tough. It's really tough to watch when he's one out in the goal square with Plowman. I think we can really hurt Richmond by, Hewitt goes forward, kicks a goal. That hurts them.
Yeah.
And then obviously Hewitt defending on the other way. But yeah, it's interesting. Dusty's hard to stop. I think he'll kick a couple.
How many? 2?
Hopefully none, but 2, I reckon. 2 cheap ones to get them to within 40.
Oh,
Later in the fourth quarter when it's basically all done. Speechley?
I don't think it's any one-on-one matchups. I think it's going to be a lot of structure. I think Boss will implement around stoppages, wherever Martin is. I think it'll be a lot of team sort of a structure to limit his influence. I don't think anyone goes at him. I think that's a bit of negative play, I think, a little bit. But yeah, I mean, obviously we'll see what he does, but that's what I reckon will happen.
Beautiful. Well said, mate. All right. Let's get into some predictions, I guess. Let's go. We'll mix it up a little bit. So we'll go first goal scorer. Who's going to win? We'll go best on, and obviously margin as well. Speechley. Who kicks the first goal?
First goal, Corey Durden.
Bang.
Best on. That's a tough one. George Hewitt. Sorry. And then Carlton by 9.
Carlton by 9. Beautiful. All right. Pato, first goal, mate, and best on ground. Who was it?
I have gone Charles Curnow for first goal. I think that would be an awesome reaction to see the big Charlie do like a huge screamer and then kick the goal after. And I think best on Paddy Cripps. Paddy Cripps, what a performance that would be if he could produce what he has shown in the Pracky match, round 1, in front of about 100,018 people at the MCG.
That's good. And who wins?
Blue Baggers.
Why? By how many?
This is a tough one. I don't want to go too big, but I'm just going, all right, 20 points. Carlton, 20 points. Bang.
Beautiful. I think Daffy dropped 40 points earlier. So we'll go first goal scorer first, Daff, and then best on ground, mate.
First goal scorer, I'm going for a bit of a different one, but I'll go George Hewitt. He's my boy already. I haven't even seen him play a game yet, well, like a proper game yet. But I think he might sneak up forward and kick a snag in the first couple of minutes.
Leave Dusty in the middle. Isn't he supposed to be playing on Dusty?
Yeah, Dusty will be like, fuck, where is he, mate? Where's the Hewitt?
Oh, there he is, kicking the first goal. Look, he's him too. Best on ground, mate.
Best on ground. I think Harry could go big round 1, just to prove that he's the best forward. I've seen a few predictions here and there saying other people are going to win the Coleman. I think Harry will win the Coleman. Having Charlie back will help him. But yeah, Harry Mackay, best on ground, 6 goals.
Kicking a bag to prove he's the best forward. I think he done that last year when he had a Coleman medal wrapped around his neck. I think he proved he was the best forward then, didn't he?
You got to do it again, mate. You got to do it again and again.
Yeah, and who wins? By how much?
Carlton, I've changed my tip from a few months ago.
42 goals. It should be.
I've got us winning by 23.
42 goals to Dusty. All right, sweet. All right, that's good. First goal, Durden, I'll go, and then best on, I probably agree. I think Paddo might have said it, Cripper, and then Blues by 9 points, I reckon.
Oh, so it's, I don't know if I can do a close one. I don't know if I can do it.
We're Carlton supporters. We only deal with close ones.
Yeah.
Me.
Not really last year. Not really last year. It was always like
when we win. Yeah,
literally.
Exactly. Are we all going to the game? Here we are.
Yes.
Yes. Come on.
Yeah, no, beautiful. All right. Alrighty. If you haven't already as well, I think you can't yet, but our video should be dropping soon on Footy Live, me and Speech. A bit of a season preview. Hopefully gets out soon. We'll be playing in a few days. So hopefully that gets out soon. And our podcast, so will be added to there as well. So I believe all upcoming episodes, as well as Spotify and regular Apple Podcasts and YouTube, obviously, will be also on the Footy Live app. So Get your podcast wherever suits you. Like, follow, subscribe, do it all. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, everything. Pato's the guy for that. And, beautiful. You don't have your scarf on, Pato, so you can't give us a go Blues, mate. But, you've done that every game last year. We won fuck all. So, start a new tradition, mate, all right? Do you want to lead the way?
Of course. Go the mighty Blues.
Go Blues.
Go Boys.